You know how some new car designs just they really hit differently?
Yeah, definitely. Some you love, some you. Well, you react strongly.
Like take the BMW iX
Right.
for some people.
Oh, yeah, super polarizing design on that one.
Exactly. But then you get inside and it's just wow, it's like this amazing architectural space inside.
And it drives really well, too, surprisingly sharp for what it is.
Yeah, sharper than some, actual sports-oriented models even. It's that classic kind of maybe ugly outside but really lovely underneath situation.
Mm-hmm. A familiar story sometimes.
And that brings us, I guess, to the 2025 Mini Countryman SE.
Ah, yes, another one that's certainly caused a bit of a stir.
A lot of flags, definitely. You hear critics saying it represents, like, everything wrong with the Mini brand these days.
Too big, maybe too ugly for some.
Yeah, and that screen, that
Yeah.
big circular infotainment screen, lots of people find it way too complicated.
Right. That's the rap sheet, anyway.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Our mission for this deep dive is to look at one specific review that, well, quite surprisingly, found the Countryman SE to be a charming electric vehicle.
Interesting.
Yeah, even if, it's not exactly pitch perfect in its execution and despite what all the haters say,
So it cooks against the grain a little.
it really does. It's fascinating how a car's looks and, I guess, its perceived flaws can just divide opinions so sharply.
Exactly. So we're going to try and go beyond those first impressions, beyond the purest opinions maybe, and really see if there's actually a lot to like about Mini's only four-door EV.
Even with that range and charging being called mediocre pretty often.
Yeah, even with that, we'll explore what this reviewer experienced during their week with the car, what exactly made it feel charming to them.
And why that perspective might matter for you, the listener, when you're trying to figure out new car choices in this, like, information overload world we're in.
Right, it's about looking past the noise sometimes.
All right, let's start with the basics then. What exactly is the 2025 Mini Countryman SE?
Well, it's the third generation of Mini's biggest vehicle. It first launched way back in 2011.
And its original purpose was what? To get those buyers who liked the classic Mini Cooper hatch?
Right. But they just wanted, a bit more space. And importantly, a second set of doors.
Ah, something the ill-fated clubman didn't quite deliver on with those weird Hus-style rear doors.
Exactly. The Countryman was meant to be the more practical Mini, but it's grown a lot.
Yeah, the review mentions that. It calls it middle-aged model bloat.
That's one way to put it. I mean, what started as kind of a Honda Fit-size car has turned into a small crossover. It's getting close to a Toyota RAV4 in size now.
Wow.
Yeah. The review even says, kind of poetically, victory, it seems, has defeated the Countryman regarding its original mission versus its current size.
That's what's underneath. It's electric, obviously.
It's an electrified version of the gas-powered Countryman, yeah. It's closely related to the BMW X1.
Okay.
And its direct electric counterpart is really the BMW iX1, but you can't actually get that one in the U.S.
Well, interesting. So this Countryman SE is kind of unique in the Mini lineup here then.
It absolutely is. It's literally the only four-door EV available with the Mini badge in the States right now. The smaller five-door, the Aceman, it's missing in action for the U.S. market.
Gotcha. So let's talk numbers. Power.
Power comes from two electric motors. Combined output is 308 horsepower and 364 pound-feet of torque.
Okay, that's pretty healthy. And the battery.
It's a 64.6 kilowatt-hour battery. The official range is 212 miles.
212 miles. Okay.
And it's mounted under the floor, of course. The car weighs around 4,400 pounds, roughly.
And it's only dual motor, all-wheel drive.
That's right. Dual motor is the only way it comes. No front-wheel drive option for the SE.
That's a choice. Okay, specs covered. Let's get to the visual controversy. The
And
looks,
elephant in the room, maybe?
pretty much. The reviewer flat out says a lot of people don't like the way the Mini Countryman SE looks inside or out. No mincing words there.
Nope. But then comes the pivot.
Yeah, the reviewer says, I am not one of those people. I think it's a swell-looking car.
Okay. Strong counterpoint.
But I will admit that it's a design that looks far better in person.
Ah, the classic better in-person defense. But why? What makes it look better off the screen?
Well, the review suggests the designers were actually pretty clever. They managed to make that familiar Mini shape feel fresh, while also kind of disguising how big the car actually is now.
Okay, so there's some smart surfacing involved.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like just flat blank sides in photos. The review calls it deceptively complex side surfacing when you actually see it.
Gotcha. Light and shadow playing tricks.
Could be. And the reviewer was really keen on the back end. The dead-on rear view, the beefy trunk lid, and Union Jack taillights.
The Union Jack lights are still there then?
Yep, but described as feeling like a techno-futurist elevation.
Huh. Interesting take.
Yeah, and they actually preferred this design over other retro revivals, like the Fiat 500e, especially with the optional bronze roof and wheels.
Okay, that bronze accent sounds key.
It seems to be. It's a good reminder, though, isn't it? How photos can sometimes just not tell the whole story.
Absolutely. You really need to see some cars in the metal.
So from that polarizing outside, let's move inside, because the review says the interior is arguably the best part of the whole car.
Really? Better than the drive or anything else?
That's what they argue. Even though at first glance, it might look like just, a make-up compact-shaped screen mounted on a plastic panel.
Right, that big round screen again.
But the review insists it's so much more complicated than that initial impression.
So what elevates it? What's the complication?
Well, part of it is this sort of intentional simplicity. The review felt it was like a more earnest reinterpretation of the very basic dashboards of the original Morris Mini Cooper.
Okay, so a modern take on minimalism.
Kinda, but with some really nice details. Remember that bronze exterior trim?
Yeah, the roof and wheels.
Well, all the bright work inside this texture was also bronze, matching the outside.
Ah, nice tie-in. Cohesive design.
And get this. The blue fabric on the dashboard and upper levels of the doors turns orange bronze as it moves toward the rear of the car.
It changes color, like an ombre effect.
Sounds like it. The review calls it out specifically. That plus really nice leather seats.
Okay, that does sound quite premium and, well, charming.
Yeah, charming seems to be the word, even though the review notes that there aren't very many soft-touch plastics at all. Mostly just the seats and armrests are soft.
So maybe not luxurious in the traditional sense, but stylish and interesting.
Exactly. And importantly, the reviewer liked the circular-shaped screen and its software, so maybe it's not as complicated to use as some fear.
Or at least this one person got on with it fine.
Ooh.
Okay, interesting.
So looks and interior covered. Now here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. The driving dynamics.
Right, because on paper, it doesn't scream fun, maybe.
Well, yeah, the review points out it's fundamentally a converted gas car with some batteries shoved under the floorboard.
Not a dedicated EV platform.
Right. And the numbers are described as very average. It's heavy, like you said, kind of tall. And the power, while decent, isn't maybe as staggering as some other EVs, like that twin-motor Volvo EX30.
So the Mini purists, they probably have thoughts about this.
Oh, they definitely do. And the review says, I guess to be fair to those folks, they are a little right.
How so? What's their main gripe with the driving feel?
They feel it's tall and very refined behind the wheel, which is just not at all like the old Mini hatchbacks of yore.
Okay, so it lacks that raw go-kart feel they associate with Mini.
Exactly. For them, it's kind of the antithesis of any Mini product. Too grown-up, too smooth.
I can see that perspective if you're coming from the original hatches.
Sure. But, and here's the twist, the reviewer says, but I am not one of those folks.
Ah, okay. So they found something to like, despite the refinement.
Yeah, they argue that despite those criticisms, it still manages to be a fun-to-drive crossover.
How?
Yeah.
What makes it fun if it's refined and a bit tall?
Well, the refinement itself is seen as a positive, actually. The suspension tuning is called sophisticated and feels expensive.
So a premium feel.
Definitely. The ride is the opposite of rough, and it feels like a premium car, not a toy.
Okay, but premium doesn't always equal fun or engaging.
True. So this raises that important question. How can a car that feels premium and refined still be engaging?
Yeah, what's the secret sauce there?
The review says that even though it is a little tall and bulkier, the actual driving feel is relatively engaging.
Wow. Steering, handling.
Both, seems like. It mentions a fairly quick steering ratio and even a bit of feel through the wheel.
Oh, actual feel. That's rare these days.
Apparently so. And crucially, it corners flat and grips hard.
It's so good body control.
Yeah, which makes it feel more engaging than other cars with similar characteristics. The review explicitly says, like, drive an Equinox EV, then hop behind the wheel of this thing.
Making a direct comparison to feel the difference.
Exactly. So maybe it's not the raw Mini of old, but it retains some of that engaging character, just wrapped in a more premium package.
Okay, that makes sense. A different flavor of Mini fun.
And let's not forget speed. The Countryman SE is also apparently quite quick.
Faster than the number suggests.
Seems like it. Even without using the special go-kart mode, the reviewer felt Mini might have underrated its specifications.
No, what are the numbers?
Mini claims 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. But Car and Driver, in their testing, got 4.8 seconds.
Wow, that's a significant difference, nearly half a second quicker.
Right, 4.8 seconds is genuinely quick for a,
That's
family-oriented
fine.
crossover. Challenges that average on-paper perception.
Definitely punches above its weight class in terms of acceleration then.
Seems so. Okay, but let's pivot to maybe the less exciting but very crucial part, charging and range.
Ah, yes. The Achilles heel for many EVs, or at least the point of most scrutiny.
For sure. And this is one of the main criticisms you hear about the Countryman SE, the on-paper numbers. Well, the review pulls no punches.
What are they again?
Rated for only 212 miles of range.
Okay, yeah, that's not a huge number today.
And DC fast charging is quoted as 10 to 80% in 29 minutes, with a maximum speed of 130 kilowatts.
130 kilowatt peak.
Yeah. And the reviewer says, point blank, these numbers would have been cutting edge in 2018.
Ouch. So objectively mediocre specs on that front.
Pretty much. But what's fascinating here, according to the review, is the real-world performance.
Okay, did it underperform or overperform?
Well, the review says, to be fair to Mini, the Countryman SE actually did all of those things.
Meaning it hit its quoted numbers?
Exactly. The DC fast charging test hit the 29-minute mark right on the money.
Okay, so it does what it says on the tin, at least for charging speed.
And on a mixed-use road trip, the reviewer was on track to achieve about 190 miles of range.
190 miles. Okay, slightly under the 220 TA, but that's pretty typical in mixed driving.
Right. The efficiency worked out to about 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour, which the review calls merely okay.
Yeah, that's not stellar efficiency, but not terrible either.
But here's the key takeaway from the reviewer's perspective. For my use case, the Mini was just fine.
The it depends on your needs argument.
Pretty much. It highlights that disconnect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Between needing class-leading specs on paper versus what actually works for your daily life or typical trips.
It really does. For someone who mainly drives around town and can charge at home, 190, 200 miles might be perfectly adequate.
Exactly. It might not be the car for cross-country road trips every weekend, but for many people, maybe it's enough.
It's a valid point. Not everyone needs 300 plus miles constantly.
Though there was one specific usability frustration mentioned with charging.
Oh, what was that?
The DC fast charging preconditioning, where the car gets the battery ready for faster charging.
Yeah, important for hitting those peak speeds, especially in the cold.
Right. Well, the reviewer found it not intuitive to use. It can activate automatically if you navigate to a charger.
Okay, that's standard.
But the manual button to trigger it was apparently, more often than not, grayed out with no explanation.
That would be annoying if you just pull up to a charger without navigating.
Yeah, exactly. A small thing, maybe, but those little user interface quirks can definitely add up.
Sure can. Okay, so bringing it all together, what's the final verdict from this review? What does it mean for, someone considering this car?
Well, the review acknowledges that the Mini fans, the purists, they may have a point about the oversized dimensions and weird styling. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Fair enough. It's definitely a departure.
But then there's this really powerful counter-argument that resonated with me. The reviewer says, I don't think every car needs to be a direct one-to-one version of something old.
Moving beyond nostalgia.
Yeah. Perhaps it's time to reinterpret the past into something new and take that something new for what it is.
I like that. Letting a new product stand on its own merits rather than just comparing it to history.
Exactly. So, judging it for what it is, what's the core appeal, according to this review?
Well, boiling it down, the review highlights that it's sharp to drive without losing its premium edge.
Okay, that balance we talked about.
Right. It's also spacious for being a compact crossover. Remember, it has grown.
True. More practical now.
And maybe surprisingly, in the grand scheme of things, it's not even that expensive.
Really? What was the price on the tester?
The example tested came out to $51,145. That included a couple of packages. The Iconic package for $3,200 and the Comfort Max package for $900.
What did those add?
Things like a Harman Kardon sound system, power front seats, and Mini's Active Driving Assistant Pro. So pretty well equipped for that price.
How does that compare to, say, other premium-ish electric crossovers?
Well, the review notes that, for comparison, it's actually cheaper than an all-wheel drive Cadillac Optiq.
Oh, interesting.
Although, there's a caveat, the Optiq does qualify for the full $7,500 federal tax credit, which this Mini likely doesn't.
Ah, okay. That changes the math considerably for eligible buyers. Still, the base price comparison is notable.
It is. It puts it in a competitive spot, price-wise, depending on incentives.
But beyond the price and the features, maybe the most telling detail from the review the thing that really captures that charm factor,
What's that?
is just the simple fact that the reviewer just liked driving the Mini.
Plain and simple enjoyment.
Yeah. They were even making up reasons to drive the thing and apparently didn't want to give it back.
That says a lot, doesn't it? When you actually miss a car after testing it.
It really does. And the reviewer's final statement kind of sums it all up. I think the world would be a better place if we drove cars we liked.
Hard to argue with that sentiment, that subjective emotional connection.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just matters more than the spec sheet.
Totally. So, wrapping up this deep dive on the 2025 Mini Countryman SE, it's a car that definitely faces its share of criticism, no doubt about it.
For its size, its looks, its range, right?
But this particular review found a surprising amount of charm, unexpected driving fun, and argued that maybe mediocre on paper doesn't always mean a bad real-world experience.
Right, and it shows how much personal preference can and maybe should weigh against popular opinion or purist ideals.
Definitely. It proves that sometimes you just connect with a car for reasons that are hard to quantify.
And if we kind of zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture for you, the listener,
Yeah.
this whole discussion raises a really interesting question, I think.
You do.
In this world that's just saturated with specs and data and sometimes pretty rigid purist ideals about what a brand should be, how much weight should we actually give to that subjective emotional connection?
You mean, how much does it matter if you just like something, even if it's not the best on paper?
Exactly. Especially for something as significant and often personal as a car. How do you balance objective measurements versus that gut feeling, that enjoyment factor? What truly makes a product good for you?
That's a great point. It's not always about having the longest range or the fastest 0 to 60 time. Sometimes it's just about finding something that brings you a bit of joy or just works perfectly for your life, regardless of the numbers.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Something to maybe think about the next time you're looking at cars, or really any big purchase where stats and feelings collide. What truly matters most to you?